The baseball winter meetings underway. We are keeping a close eye on everything that is going on in Dallas. It appears as though we are on the cusp of a lot of activity. Phones are lighting up all over the place. GMs are taking phone calls and sending text messages and having conversations. And I think we are within the next, I would say 18 to 24 hours, I think that you're going to see a flurry of moves. Just feels like that is where everything is going now that the Juan Soto signing is in the rearview mirror and the teams that were involved or waiting for the Juan Soto sweepstakes to finish up. I think a lot of moves can now start to happen, and I think you're going to see that over the next couple of days, specifically, I would say in the next 24 to 36 hours. Mike Hazen joined MLB Network, and I've got two cuts that I want to play here because I think most general managers won't just tell you what's going on. They're going to speak in code. You have to read between the lines, and I think that's what we get to do here on this show.
Yeah, and it's fun.
We get to play these cuts, and we get to play detective, and we might be right, we might be wrong. That's what we do here on the show. We speculate. Reckless speculation. That's what we do. So we're going to play two cuts here from Mike Hazen when he appeared on MLB Network yesterday. This first one, he was asked, and he was on with Matt Vasgersian and Harold Reynolds, and he was asked about phone calls. And he was asked about, are you taking more phone calls or are you dialing out more phone calls? Is it one-sided right now? How is the market currently situated? And here's what Mike Hazen had to say about whether or not his phone is doing more ringing or if he's the one dialing out more.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit of both. We have excess of starting pitching right now, so we're taking calls on that, obviously, because the starting pitching market is usually one of the hottest ones all winter, every winter. And then we have some depth with some of our position players that we're fielding on as well. But we'll see. We like our team. We like the way it's put together. We obviously have some home runs to make up that we've kind of lost here off in this winter. So we have some offense to put back together. We have a bullpen to put together. That's what we're working on right now.
Okay. There's a interesting part of that cut. Towards the end there, Mike Hazen mentioned we have some offense to replace. We have some offense that we lost. Let's hear that one more time. Now that I've given you that backdrop, listen to the end of this. Oh, yeah, sure, Mike Hazen, you're taking phone calls on your starting pitching and some of your outfielders. Great. Zach Allen, we've had that conversation here on the show. We've talked about them potentially utilizing one of their surplus outfielders to maybe get an arm. We've done that. So you're going to hear that at the beginning, but really focus in. Listen to what he says towards the end about their priorities this offseason and what they have to do to their offense. Listen close.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit of both. We have excess of starting pitching right now, so we're taking calls on that, obviously, because the starting pitching market is usually one of the hottest ones all winter, every winter. And then we have some depth with some of our position players that we're fielding on as well. But we'll see. We like our team. Okay. We like the way it's put together. We obviously have some home runs to make up that we've kind of lost here off in this winter. So we have some offense to put back together. We have a bullpen to put together. That's what we're working on right now.
Some home runs we've lost. And an offense that we have to put back together.
With the word obviously in there, too.
Obviously. We have to try on this show to play detective. We said that already. And I don't know if we're reading too much into this. Did that sound like a guy who thought Christian Walker was coming back? Did that sound like a guy that was going to, quote-unquote, replace their offensive firepower that they lost, the home runs that they need to bring back? Did you think that was – did you get the sense from that clip that it's going to be Christian Walker who helps them put back together their offense? Now, you can say put back together. They mean Christian Walker's coming back. Okay, how about this? Hey, Mike Hazen, you got an update for us on Christian Walker?
And so I have to ask you the follow-up question. Are you guys still engaged with Christian in free agency?
Yeah, we're still engaged in the entire market to add offense back onto our club. We have lost some power production via free agency that we're going to have to replace with our offense. Obviously, we had a very good offensive year last year. We're not expecting to have the same offensive year this year, leading the league in runs like we did. But we still want to have a high-powered offense to match up with our run prevention and put us in as good a position as possible.
I might be playing semantics here. I joke about this in my house on a pretty regular basis. My degree is in journalism, and I always am correcting people in the house on their word choice and their word usage. My fiance, our daughter, I constantly joke with them. I have a degree in words. My degree is in words. Journalism, mass communication, what I do for a living, a degree in words. So maybe I'm playing semantics. Christian Walker is a free agent. He is not guaranteed to come back. Would you use the term lost and replaced if you thought that you could bring Christian Walker back? Again, I might be playing semantics, but if Christian Walker was a possibility to return, would you say in the past tense, we've lost offense? We have to replace. Listen to it again. We're playing these cuts a lot because I think the way Mike Hazen is speaking here is very important. He uses the past tense. Lost, we need to replace. Listen.
And so I have to ask you the follow-up question. Are you guys still engaged with Christian in free agency?
Yeah, we're still engaged in the entire market to add offense back onto our club. We have lost some power production via free agency that we're going to have to replace with our offense. Obviously, we had a very good offensive year last year. We're not expecting to have the same offensive year this year, leading the league in runs like we did. But we still want to have a high-powered offense to match up with our run prevention and put us in as good a position as possible.
He dodges the question at first by saying, we're engaged with everything on the offensive front to improve our team. Didn't want to talk specifically about Christian Walker, although most GMs do that. They don't want to talk specifics because they don't want to potentially get a charge levied against them because you can't really say you're out on a player. It's kind of against the rules. Producer Corey, got a question for you.
Okay.
You know the definition of the word replace?
Only when something previously leaves.
Two options you've got here. Take the place of, or option two, put something back in a previous place or position. Would you replace Christian Walker with Christian Walker?
Yeah, pick him up, put him right back down.
Is that what you would be doing if you need to replace spots in your offense? Again, 480-864-1060. You could tell me I'm playing semantics. And I wouldn't maybe necessarily fully disagree with you. But I think word choice matters. And Mike Hazen talked about we've lost offensive firepower. We need to replace. We have to put back together our offense. Did that sound like somebody who is extremely confident that Christian Walker is going to come in at a price tag that the Diamondbacks are going to feel comfortable bringing back? I didn't get that feeling from those two clips. My feeling from those two clips, Jock Peterson's not coming back, Christian Walker's not coming back. He talked about replacing those players, replacing what they've lost offensively. That tells me new first baseman. That tells me new DH. That tells me they are not going to swim in those waters and combine probably give out $40 million to Christian Walker and Jock Peterson. We told you that there was a report here in town that there was not a chance they were going to bring both of those guys back, that it was going to be one or the other. I don't get the sense it's going to be either. That's just my read of it. I've been listening to GM speak for a long time. You have to try to read between the lines. My read on those two cuts, Christian Walker's not coming back to this team. I also found something that Mike Hazen said very interesting. I don't have a cut of this, but he met with reporters. This was a TV appearance. He also met with reporters late in the day yesterday there in Dallas, late at night, and he unequivocally said Adrian Del Castillo, who we've talked about on this show as a potential stopgap solution at DH. He said they view Adrian as a catcher, and they do not view him in the DH bucket. So that tells you where they think they're going to be spending money this offseason. That they're not going to go in-house at DH, that they're going to go out and get somebody to be an everyday player at that position. He didn't outright come out and say Christian Walker's not playing for the 2025 Arizona Diamondbacks. I think those two cuts are greasing the skids for us to have that conversation. That's my takeaway from what we heard there from Mike Hazen. Christian Walker's not coming back to this team. It feels extremely unlikely. The Yankees are already planning on pivoting and talking to Christian Walker. I think they've already done so. They're already reportedly discussing a contract with Christian Walker. So they're in those stages of the negotiations with other free agents after their Juan Soto pursuit failed. And I just don't see a world where that price tag comes in a place where the Diamondbacks are comfortable. And so this is where Mike Hazen is going to have to put on his GM hat, pick up that phone, call up other GMs, see what trade options are out there, see what cheap free agent options on the margins they can add to make this team better. But I don't get the sense at all that Christian Walker, I think they'd like him to be in their plans. I don't get the sense from those two clips that we just played for Mike Hazen. I don't get the sense that Christian Walker returning to the 2025 Diamondbacks is on the table at this point. Maybe the market reacts in a way that opens that door back up. But as we sit here on day 2 of the winter meetings, they're going to have a different first baseman in 2025. They're going to have a different DH in 2025. I do not think Christian Walker or Jock Peterson return. We have to play detective. We're reading between the lines. Would I like Christian Walker back on this team? Absolutely. I think his defense, the offense, the 30 home run potential, you got to replace that somehow, right? I think of the scene in Moneyball where they're sitting around the table and they lose Giambi. And Billy Beane, played by Brad Pitt in the movie, looks at everybody and says, you guys are doing this wrong. We can't recreate Giambi. We have to recreate him in the aggregate. That's the job that Mike Hazen is going to have to do. The home run, the power production from Jock Peterson and Christian Walker, I think you are going to see them recreated in the aggregate. And it's going to be over, I think, 3 or 4 different solutions rather than maybe 1 or 2. So we will see how good of a GM Mike Hazen is. I think he's one of the best. We will get to see that here as they try to solve this puzzle for this 2025 team. This team was the best team in runs per game in the National League. They have to replace that offense. They have to. But the key word there, replace. I don't think that means Christian Walker is what they replace Christian Walker with.